Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Self-love through freedom and connection. So feel free to connect to the brave never fall on these social media platforms. If you find anything of value in this following podcast, hit that like button, subscribe and share, and support the brave and bold tribe growing one purposeful soul at a time. How are you feeling? Take a moment to do a self-check-in for yourself. How are you feeling mentally? How are you feeling emotionally? How are you feeling physically? How are you feeling spiritually? Are you feeling balanced? Are you still journeying on an intentional, purposeful path? How are you feeling? Balancing yourself is a healthy daily practice that will reliably keep you in harmony with your entire mind, body, heart, and soul. Clear your mind. Take a moment of silence for yourself right now in the moment. You are here now. How are you feeling? Your greatest truths about yourself will also be your greatest strengths. We can always focus on whether or not truth is in our life in a certain way, because there's all different types of truths that are correlated with each individual. Each individual has their own set of values, so each individual has their own quote-unquote set of truths. And we're not going to talk about what lies or truths you tell to other people. Thinking truthfully and honestly, the focus is on you. Where did you start from as far as truth goes for you? How honest are you about who you are, what you've done, what you know you're capable of doing, and perhaps are not doing, and vice versa? The truth of you, it begins and ends with you, is the most important truth. The external truths, the things that you say and do that are truthful or not truthful, honest or not honest, it all starts from what is within. It all starts from what is within. And if you are not truthful and honest about who you are, who you have been, or who you could be, everything external really doesn't mean much. Same as if you are not standing on firm values that you believe in. The external values you try to display won't hold much water. The goal of each day is to better understand yourself and to expand and to evolve into someone you know you're capable of being, based on truth, honesty, and values you have for yourself within. The external parts will take care of themselves. The hard work, the important work, the purposeful work starts from within. And the truth of who you are and how honest you are about that will begin that path. Our minds are a circus. Jerks us around and around in circles, and circles us in uncertainty. Then suddenly we look to the sun and enlightenment of who we are and who we are soon to be. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Honest thoughts, faithful hearts, sound body. Our soul is an art, formed from love, challenged by hate. The truth of who we are stands in our way. Move forward and create. Paint the picture. Create the story of a lifestyle that's worthwhile. Minus the drama and doubt island we stand upon. Idling silently. Eyes closed blindingly. Convincing ourselves we hide from society because we're an oddity. A self-dichotomy. A sigh of relief. We are all unique, with our own stories to tell. Our own adventures. Our own odysseys. Our own mysteries. We make bold discoveries in a world where we chose to be on our knees. The brave rise with peace, alone or with company to face the sea. As the sun sets, you are faced with reality, the clarity to venture forth, to accept the failures when your winds are poor, to respect what ails us but believe in more. The ship is sailing. What are you waiting for? A miracle? No better time than now to face the truths of the days ahead. The past is dead. What's done is done. What's said is said. Live in purpose or die in regret. Respect comes when you respect yourself. When there's nothing to lose and nothing left, lace up the shoes, tighten the belt. You are tighten yourself, ready to take on anything that cracks in to your peace, happiness, joy. Self-reflection is the purest revelation. The intersections of yesterday and tomorrow collide in the moment. If you hide, then it's stolen. It can never be returned, only visited in memory, data collected. In a flash, your drive are reduced to dates, images, innocent moments lost in time. This is the moment you've been waiting for. The truth of who you are can never be lost if you unlock the gifts inside. A Ronin's Way of Balanced Energy, Episode 7, Thinking Honestly and Truthfully. To start off, the first thing we think about when we talk about honesty and truthfulness is we tend to think about what other people are doing. And we often don't look at ourselves. And self-reflection is going to be huge with this one, because it is an internal thing. With practice and time and with repetition and self-discipline, you can pretty much block out whatever's going on around you externally. That is usually one of the easier things to fix when people are trying to better themselves and trying to move forward in life. What's harder to fix is the things that are repetitious and full of patterns and self-discipline in the wrong direction within yourself. Because no one can really know everything that's in there but you, and even you may not always understand everything that's in there. So one of the greatest things I found when I had my awakening and when I decided I wanted to change and make my life better, and thus me making my life better, the people around me, hopefully they get the value of me making my life better, and I get to bring in more valuable people into my life. So it was more than enough incentive and motivation and passion there to move forward with the process of change, of rebirth, almost becoming a new person in a positive way. But that's just a thought. You have to actually do these things to make it happen. And that's where the journey really begins. Anybody can step up to a line and begin a race. How many people are actually going to finish the race? And in some cases, never finish the race because it's an ongoing marathon. There really isn't any end. You can stop, you can take a break, but you still need to move forward. Now, how do you get your mindset to the place of, I'm ready to change? How do I even know how to change? Well, the easiest answer is always sometimes the hardest ones. Because the easy answer is you have to look at yourself. That journey of rediscovery of yourself and you giving yourself a new chance in life to kind of just press that reset button and start over is a very hard one. And you have to know who you are to be able to do it. And you have to accept the fact that people don't know who you are. They didn't know you then. They certainly aren't going to know you when you start to change, when you start to add on things that they don't understand. So they get used to you. They get comfortable. And this is a problem that, again, is an external thing. The more comfortable people get with you, you tend to get comfortable with yourself. But then there's a conflict because you may be comfortable with things that you know may not stand or align with your values. You have people in your life that may not align with you, but you're comfortable with these people. They know you. Correction. They know that version of you. It's no mystery, no wonder why people fall off when people try to change something in their life for themselves, especially in a positive way. Now, people will fall off negatively. Now, if you make a decision in life, and everybody's been through this, have you ever made a decision in life where it was a negative decision? It seemed like more people came to you to help you. But when you made a positive decision in your life that would maybe change something, everybody ran away from you. There's a victim's mentality out there. And that statement I just made is a perfect example of when you know people are afraid of people who are changing because it's a mirror to them that they need to change something about themselves. If it frightens you that someone's pursuing a better form of life for themselves, if it frightens you or you feel threatened by the mere fact that somebody's discovering self-love for themselves, that has so much more to say about you than it does to that person. And we see this all the time. That's why it's so important that you stand on who you are, because you can shield yourself from that. It is not your responsibility in this world to make sure everybody likes whatever version of you they want you to be. It's your responsibility in life for you to be the best version of yourself for who you see yourself to be based upon your values and your self-love. You should never apologize for that. Life is coming and going. People are coming and going. You are here to stay from beginning to end with yourself. You can't run from yourself. You can't hide from yourself. You can't run from your memories. We can distract ourselves. We can do all sorts of things in life. We can cling on to people who are codependent that are kind of bring us on and say, hey, you're part of my life. This is my life. You're part of my life too. Here, hold on to my arm. See, we're together. You're walking my path with me. You're safe. That's bullshit. You have to be able to stand on your own 2 feet first. Then you move forward. Otherwise, you're going to be second guessing every single day. What happens if this person goes away? What happens if this job goes away? If this church goes away? All my friends go away? My kids go away? What happens with all that? You're only left with you, which is why self-love is important. It's so damn important that I can't stress it enough. Because in the end, more times than not, you're going to be alone. And if you're not comfortable in your own skin when you're alone, what's going to happen? You are going to fall and never get back up. You're going to look at that volcano that you're trying to climb over, And you're not going to have a damn clue how to even attack it, let alone have the strength to even endure it if you did muster up the courage to be able to face it. And that is not a good, healthy place for any individual to be in this world. When your focus is more on other people than it is on yourself, that is a major red flag. If you ever know anybody who does that, that is an extremely big, bright red flag. That is not something you want in your life, because these people are not doing the work on themselves. And no person, despite even actively growing or not, everybody's growing regardless if they want to participate in their own growth or not. Because each day we get older. Each day we learn something new, or we forget something we should learn, or we have learned. We forget and we take for granted the people in our lives. We forget and take for granted all the things that we have that are important. And we forget to be truthful about who we are. We start making up excuses. We start making up all these scenarios of why you can't get shit done. You start making up all those excuses why your relationship isn't working, why you can't find a job, why your church has kicked you out on your butt. We don't have any self-responsibility. I know I didn't. And I'm going back in the time machine here when I'm speaking like this, because I can speak on it to the fullness. I had to be truthful with myself. I had to look myself in the mirror and say, okay, brother, you are not at the weight you want to be at. You don't feel healthy. Your mind is clouded because you're drinking all the time. Your marriage is going down the tubes because you guys aren't aligned anymore and you don't know what your values are. This doesn't mean I'm responsible for her, but you are responsible for you. And you have to take ownership of what you were doing. What type of father are you trying to be? What type of career are you trying to have? I had to look at everything. Everything. What knowledge? What have you done? What do you have to contribute in life? Why aren't you happy? Why are you miserable every day, but claiming to everyone that your life is so damn great? I had so many things wrong with me, and I had to be honest about them. It had nothing to do with anyone else. It had everything to do with my truths about myself. And the moment I took those truths by the arms and said, wake up, Mr. Davis. Wake up. And I managed to do that. And it was the best thing I could have ever done, was just get over the fear of facing my fears. And not only just facing them, but saying, I want to actively get rid of everyone and replace it with something powerful, something strong. How do I do that? I had to look into it. I had no clue how to do this. Most people don't. And then over time, I trusted myself to make sure that I could get to a place, something would pop up in my life that would give me some initial values. And that's when I found Tao. Taoism helped me truly start the path. I was awakened. I had already been awakened, but then I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where my path was. But then I just kept on moving forward, and I found Tao. Now all of a sudden, oh my goodness, I have a literal almost version of a Bible of myself. Tao is all about not being a part of a religion, but having all the morals from it. So you have all these morals and boundaries and things that make you a complete person. And you just go over them again and again and again. And they're meant to be interpreted for you, for who you are, because you are a unique individual. I read the book of Tao one way, the Tao Te Ching. Someone else may read it a completely different way, but the words are still the same. That's why I love it, because it's catered to the individual and about who you are. So once you find that out, now you got to say, I got my values. Now, how do I align everything in my life to these core values? How do I align everything, and every person and every place in my life has to be aligned with these core set of values that I have recognized and have put in place for myself? That's when you start realizing, wow, if I'm willing to do all this, guess what I just obtained? Number one, I obtained self-respect for myself. I also obtained self-confidence. But more importantly, I obtained self-love, which is the most powerful thing you could ever obtain in your life, because you are willing to accept the fact, yes, life may be hard, but I'm here for a damn reason. My purpose is not taken lightly by me, so other people cannot take my purpose lightly. I'm taking full accountability and ownership of who I am. I know there are things in my life that I need to fix. I know there are people in my life I have to apologize to. I know there are things in my life that are going to be hard that I have to change to get to that bar that I've set higher for myself. I believe in myself now. I trust myself now. But people are afraid of the ugly truths. We too often get afraid of what those truths, if we keep going back to them in our minds, what they would do to us, what state they will put us in, what mood they will put us in, the people that it will affect. And those are all valid things. There's nothing wrong with any of that. However, that is a question each individual has to ask for themselves. Are you content with your current state of trust you have for yourself? And are you telling yourself the truth about yourself? Or are you allowing other people to mold you? Are you allowing places and things to mold you into a version of yourself that may seem very comfortable and full of content, but deep down inside, you know something isn't right. Something is missing. Someone is missing. Someone needs to go. Some place is missing. Some place needs to go. Something you have is that you want is missing. Something you have needs to go. These are very complex things that have to be drawn out and explored and discovered and unlocked within yourself. Once you get to that state, you start to understand you don't really need a bunch of other people in your life. And that is the best feeling in the world, because that's when more people start to come in your life. Because you no longer think, I hope this person never leaves my life. If they leave your life, that's their choice. And you are comfortable and you understand that and you recognize, you know what? That is the best gift I can give for this person, is to let them be free. Because ultimately, when you're truthful with yourself and you want to be honest about who you are, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to unlock all the cages within yourself so your soul can be free to be what it is. It's driving your meat sack vessel. You might as well give it something good to work with. Give it something it's meant to be driving. We all want better for ourselves in every form of life. We all want the better things. We want what the Joneses have. We want love and happiness. We say all these things. Everybody says all that, but no one really wants to understand the process of how to really get it and what it really means. And what it really means is you have to, if you want joy externally, you have to find joy internally. What is joy externally if internally you are a miserable wreck of yourself? What is happiness externally if you are a chaotic, drama-filled disaster inside? What is light and beauty outside if you're just dark and loathing inside? That's the dichotomy. That's a self-dichotomy of who you are. That's not a truth about you. That is a falsehood that you're creating. You're creating an external falsehood to cover the ugly truths you have inside. And there's no one's responsibility to fix any of that, to help you unlock those cages and open up the windows and get some spring cleaning done in you so you can bring some joy and happiness into your life. No one can help you with that. You have to help yourself. You have to recognize and say, okay, enough's enough. I am ready to take on the path I'm supposed to be on. Instead of taking this really easy path with nothing happening, with people abandoning me and people treating me like crap, I have to understand maybe it's not them. Maybe it's me. And most likely, it is you. You will always be the common denominator in any success or failure you have in your life. If you're going to take ownership and be proud of the successes, you have to also take ownership and understand your failures and own it and say, hey, I failed and I failed big. This is why. And you're not talking to anyone else. You're talking to yourself. We talked about after action reports. Those are extremely crucial because you can tell in real time what you're messing up on. In that conversation you have with someone, did you say something you probably regretted? Are you treating people fairly? Are you treating people the way you want them to treat you? It's a very simple thing. If every time you have a conversation with someone and you walk away and you think about what just happened, what happened there? Was it a good conversation? Did you say something you know wasn't right in the moment? Were you being truthful with yourself? Were you treating someone else the way you want to be treated? And that could be applied to anybody, any relationship. Family member, friends, spouses, boyfriend, girlfriend, doesn't matter. Children. And that same concept can be applied to any action that you take. If you're working and you know you could have gotten more work done that day, you could have done more and you didn't, you have no one to blame but yourself. But the more you don't work, it's just going to pile up. That work is going to get done eventually. And if you can't do it, they'll find somebody else who will. It all goes back to how seriously do you honestly and truthfully take your own life? How honestly and truthfully do you appreciate and want to grow your own life? How are you feeling in your mind, your body, your heart, and your soul from moment to moment? When yesterday and tomorrow collide, you're in the moment. Every single moment, there's a collision going on. It's a spark. It's something new. That deep down, ugly truth about yourself that you're hiding from, it's a challenge that is so worthwhile accepting. Because the benefits of it, of just facing them, are very extreme. They're very powerful. And they produce results that you would never get from having other people tell you who you are. And it's a self-explorational exercise to sit down and write out your thoughts. That's why journaling is so important. That's why self-reflection and meditation is so important. You want to stay connected to all aspects of your life, not just the external stuff that means absolutely nothing, stuff that everybody's experiencing equally. What are you doing for yourself? You look at people who are unhappy. Those individuals, there's something in there that they know they should be working on, and they actively choose not to do it. That will create a mindset and a pattern of negativity and dysfunction in yourself that is so unfulfilling that it doesn't matter how many people help you, how many people love you, no matter all the things you create for yourself and obtain, no matter what you're doing in life where you feel like this is a pretty decent life, it doesn't matter. Internally, you will always feel as if something was missing. And just because a little bit of hard work is required, these individuals choose not to do it, and then it turns into something else. It starts turning into resentment for themselves. And we're keeping this home, baby. We're staying right in to home base here, which is you. Being honest and truthful is not always talking about who you're lying to and who you're not lying to and what you're lying about and what you're omitting. And that we're not even talking about that here. We're talking about honest truths and realities about yourself. Once you start being truthful about who you are, all that external truthfulness and lying and things like that tend to just kind of fade away because you're comfortable in your own skin. There's really no need to do it. But again, it's a hard thing to do because no one's perfect. I certainly, till this day, am still working on trust issues of trusting and figuring out who I am. What am I capable of doing? What more can I learn about myself? What more can I add? It is never, ever a stopping point. There is no end. And I truly believe individuals can feel that it is something that you have to keep doing. Otherwise, you turn into a fake individual. You can't go back and forth with it. You can't be super honest with yourself one month and then the next month you turn into like, I don't give a shit. The goal is try to stay maintained. It's a hard one because we have peaks and valleys, baby. Everything goes up and down. Your goal is to try to figure all that out and balance everything out the best way you can for yourself. And once you start filtering out all the bullshit and the excuses, then you have stuff to work with. And you can start putting things into action. You can get momentum going. You can start developing things that are bringing you success. And you'll start saying, oh my goodness, look what that door opened. Okay, that was awesome. Let me walk through here. What's this? Oh, okay, I gotta do this, this, and this. Look at this person, man. I should listen to them. It works like that. There's no such thing as a perfect life. There's no such thing as a perfect scenario. You're gonna still have setbacks. But you gotta turn those setbacks into positive gains. You gotta turn those setbacks into positive gains for yourself. You gotta turn every negative into a positive. You gotta figure out what can be replaced with that negative moment, with a positive moment. What can you do actively to say, okay, this sucked, but I'm going to replace it with this thing. This is super positive, and this is actually better than that thing I was looking forward to that didn't pan out. That relationship that didn't pan out. This person is actually better. This thing that I wanted is actually, this over here is better. Things end in your life for a reason. Regardless if you are the reason for it or not, certain things are going to come and go out of your life. Certain people, places. Life is going to be continuing to evolve. It's extremely important that you continue to evolve for yourself. To open up the windows and make sure you know there's a bigger picture. That it's not just some small internal dialogue you have with yourself to kind of remind yourself, hey, I got to get up at 4 o'clock today and get this done. And then at 5 p.m. I'm going to make dinner. You know, there's more to you than that. There's so much more to you than that. You're so much deeper than that. You're so much more powerful and unique and special than to have that kind of an average, mundane, watered down version of who you know you're not. You're not that person. There's more of you in there. You have to dig in there. But of course, every time we have to go dig for something, if we have to go in the dark, and there's always going to be demons there. There's going to be things that frighten us. There's going to be titans and monsters and people that are coming at us in all directions, and all these bad scenarios and these bad days, and those days turn to weeks, and those weeks turn to months. And then we look back at our year and say, wow, what did I really accomplish? You have to actively be in the game. You have to actively be in the game. You can take on the world alone if you wanted to. But you also have the opportunity to take it on with people who are aligned with you. And that's another reason why finding out the truth of who you are is so important, because then you can start to surround yourself with people who are like-minded, just as much like-minded as you, if not more, so you can learn from them. They have strengths and talents that you don't have, and you have strengths and talents that they don't have. And you align and you make each other's lives better with ease. Not out of drama and chaos and pain, out of ease. You're aligned. You guys both have your own purpose. You're so focused on that what the other person is doing is their responsibility. So when these two people or these group of people come together, all they have to do is worry about, hey, let's share our experiences and let's grow together. We don't have to worry about, I got to go fix this, I got to go fix that, I got to go fix this. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because everybody's fixing things. It's the mindset behind it. Are you actively fixing it, or are you making excuses about it? Again, it goes back to the honesty and truth of who you are. It's much easier to be around somebody who has opened up and said, I'm going to fix all this stuff. No more excuses, no more tears. I'm going after it. Versus the person who says they're going to fix it and they never do anything. They stay the same person, but they're claiming they're fixing themselves. It's hard to be around people like that, because if you're the opposite spectrum of that, where you're constantly saying, I know what's wrong with me. Nobody knows me more than I know myself. I know what's wrong with me. And the people who tell me that stuff's wrong, I'm going to listen to them, and I'm going to see how that aligns with where I'm at, and I'm going to take it all in. But in the end, you always know that it's really you who has to take in all of that stuff and process it properly. That's why having a coach is so important. That's why having a mentor or a close family or friend that you severely trust is so important, because they can tell you something about yourself. They give you stuff to work on. I know I do. I know everybody. If it's something positive that I can add that somebody gives me, I'm going to listen, because I know it's aligned with something I'm working on. If it's something that I believe they think I should be working on that doesn't necessarily align with my values, and again, you have to know what those values are, then I don't worry about what they have to say. They can talk and talk and talk, and it doesn't really matter, because they believe they know me when they don't. And that is something that is a tremendous tool for each individual, is to know who you are, so you can properly filter through all the constructive criticism, what other people are saying, the experiences you have in life with your job and your friends, and if you go to church and school, and all of those dynamics we have in life. You know, even with the financial aspect of it, everything is coming together, but it's all based on what you're doing as an individual and what you want out of life. So let's get into that mindset. The mindset of knowing you're not perfect is a perfect way to start. The mindset of knowing you are not perfect is a perfect way to start figuring out internally who you are. The people who are full of ego, they won't make it far with these types of exercises, because that self-discovery is going to reveal some stuff, and they're going to procrastinate on their own discoveries. Those people tend to end up people who probably will not be aligned with you, so we're not going to worry about them so much. What we want to worry about is getting people involved in our lives that are like-minded. They have a positive attitude, and they're not controlling, they're not manipulative, they have no ego, they accept life for what it is, and they are growing with themselves. They are comfortable with being in silence and solitude by themselves, but they are more than capable of shifting gears and being a part of a group that is like-minded, to be in a relationship with someone who is in alignment with them, to learn from someone who is in alignment with them, that has that vision, the positive vision that they see for themselves in the future. But these people have already done it, so you follow them. Nothing wrong with that. But it all comes from that mindset of who are you? When your mind starts to tell you this version of you is okay, are you strong enough to tell your mind, hey, this is not okay? You're telling me it's okay, but my heart and my body is telling me, mind, that it's not okay. My soul is screaming, locked behind bars, screaming, no, mind, this version of you is not okay. It is not okay for you to talk to people this way. It is not okay for you to take and not give. It is not okay for you not to have values, not to have boundaries. It is not okay for you to do that. You have to go against the grain of that. And the older you get, sometimes it gets harder, because it's just, those gears are just going to keep going. And sooner or later, they're just getting in a rhythm, and it's really hard to break that rhythm. It's really hard to break that rhythm. So we have to dive into the mind. We have to start getting something going in the physical world out of us. So when we get things in our mind, it's time to take action. What are we going to actively do so that the mind starts having to correlate with the rest of the body? The heart and the body wants to go. The mind is going to have to come along with us. If you want to change who you are, you have to dive into that mind and start figuring out where the issues lie. We have to put together a plan, a game plan, something that is going to work, that is full of success, that is not in dream or fantasy land. There's nothing wrong with having a dream and bringing it into reality, but you can't blur the lines with fantasy with dreams either. We have to be realistic about who we are. We have to be realistic about what we can and cannot do in the moment. That does not mean you cannot do it in the future, but what do you have to work with right now? What do you look like in the mirror to yourself? An honest assessment of who you are mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You have to give yourself an honest assessment. Otherwise, you can't verbalize this or vocalize this to other people. You can tell other people, I wish I had that, I wish I had that, but that doesn't really give you much of an action plan to actually go out and change any of that, does it? Your mission for today is to get in that mind and start figuring out anything that you know is a truth about yourself that you're lying to yourself about. You have to get in your mind and think. You got to think honestly and truthfully about who you are, and try to dive into yourself as deep as you can and figure out, what is it that I believe is a truth, but I know it's not? It's actually a lie. I live it like it's a truth. but I feel it like a lie. That the external is not matching the internal. The external projection of truth I'm showing is not matching the internal lie that I'm feeling. That's the mission. You have to focus and think about what it is about yourself that you do not like. That if you had it your way, you would get rid of it. But you're accepting it and you're presenting it as it is fixed externally. You're projecting something that is fixed externally, but it's not fixed. It needs to be addressed. It could be anything in your life. Anything. And only you know what those are. I won't even list examples. You have to go in there and find them yourself. What are they? What are you projecting as a truth, but internally is really a lie about who you are? That's the only way you're going to really get into a place where you have the opportunity to grow through action into a better version of yourself that is more aligned with who you know you should be, not who you are now, the person you were born to be. That's where the truth and the honesty about yourself, that's where you want it to lead you. This is your day. You are here now. These are your moments. You own them. You are brave, bold, powerful. You do believe in yourself. You know you have more in the tank. You know the glass is half full. There is still more room for improvement. There is no end. Believe, believe, believe in yourself. You do believe in yourself. You do believe you can do whatever it takes to get the job done. You don't procrastinate. You don't embellish. You don't lie. You're true to yourself. Peace is in your mind. Peace is in your heart. Peace is in your body. It is definitely in your soul. You are greatness. You have purpose. Intentful purpose. You are here for a reason. You are ambitious. You are loving. You are kind, empathetic, compassionate. You are self-love. You have self-control, self-respect. You are joy, peace, freedom, happiness. You are connected to everything in this world and in this universe. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Learn, laugh, and level up.